But with God in prayer, it's never a matter, never, listen, I'll say it again, it's never a matter of overcoming God's reluctance. It's a matter of laying hold of his highest willingness. But it takes passion. Without passion, it doesn't happen. Only the things that burn brightly within our heart touch the heart of God. You ought to think about that. I remember when Harrison was 4 years old. Some of you remember there used to be a show on television. It was a Canadian Christian children's show called Circle Square. And he's watching Circle Square, and at the end they came out with an advertisement. I think it was for a VHS tape. Some of you have no idea what that is. It was an antiquated way to watch a video, and it was $15. And there was some skits or some things on it. He goes, Dad, I want that Circle Square video. He said, son, $15 is a lot of money. No. And he's like, just kept on, please, will you get me that video? He said, no, I'm not doing it. And so he went to his mother. She said, no. And I said, look, why don't you buy it yourself? How much money do you have? He ran up to his piggy bank. Oh, we opened it down. He had $5. I said, son, you don't have enough. You need $10 more. He said, where am I going to get $10, Dad? I said, I'll show you. I still remember we sat down. I opened the Bible to Mark 11, verse 24. Jesus said, what things soever you desire, when you pray, believe that you receive them, and you shall have them. He said, son, you've got the desire part down. You've been bugging the heck out of your mother. We know you really desire this thing. It's burning brightly within you. But Jesus said, what things soever you desire, when you pray, believe that you receive it, and you'll have it. You don't believe once something shows up. You have to believe you receive it when you pray. That means that when you ask for it, you believe that God has heard you and sent the answer. And that's why you say amen, because it's a done thing. I said, can you do that? He said, yeah. And so he prayed, a little 4-year-old, believed that he received, and thank God for $10 so he can get his Circle Square video. A couple days later, we're at church. Somebody walks up to my 4-year-old son and hands him a $10 bill. Now, 36 years ago, that's like handing a 4-year-old a $50 bill today. You just don't do that. I've never given a 4-year-old $10 before in my life. And he just comes up and says, Dad, I got my $10. Will you please send off the video? We said, yeah. So we sent off of the video, and he paid for it with money that he had trusted God for. What things soever you desire. 1 Samuel 1:13 says this. Now Hannah spoke in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. It's better to have a heart with no words than it is to have words with no heart in prayer. If it doesn't come from your heart, it will never touch the heart of God. If it's just coming from here, it will never, ever touch heaven. It has to be connected to your heart. Hannah prayed in her heart. A heart, no words, better than words with no heart. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but 3 times in the verses we read, it says that Hannah wept. In verse 7, it says she wept. In verse 8, it says she wept. In verse 10, it says she wept as she prayed. Her prayers were mixed with her tears. God said to King Hezekiah, he was sick and he was going to die. And he prayed. And God sent Isaiah to him. And these are the words of God to Hezekiah. I've heard your prayer. I've seen your tears. Psalm 56 and 8, King David said, put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? Job 16:20, my friends scorn me. My eyes pour out tears to God. Hebrews 5:7 says, in the days of his flesh, Jesus offered up prayers to the Father with strong crying and tears. You read through the Apostle Paul's writings, he speaks of serving with tears, of preaching with tears, of praying with tears. He said he even wrote his epistles with tears. Every area of his ministry was bathed in tears. Sometimes dry eyes because there's a dry heart. Psalm 126, verse 5 says, those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. He who continually goes forth weeping, bearing seed for sowing, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. You know, I remember when we had gotten the okay to go on what at the time was called the NBC Super Channel. Everybody wanted to go on this thing. They only had 2 religious programs ever on the NBC Super Channel. It was Dr. Robert Schuller, the Hour of Power, in Cottonwood. And it was when we were over at the Sausalito campus. The NBC Super Channel covered every home, every hotel in all of Europe, every home, every hotel throughout the Middle East and beyond. This enormous footprint. And I remember we just got the okay, we're just going on. It was after a Wednesday morning devotions with the staff. I began to pray over this broadcast we're doing from our little church over on Sausalito Street. And I suddenly was seized with this deep burden for all the Muslims living, especially in the Middle East and throughout Europe, that had not heard the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I began to leap uncontrollably. And I prayed and I wept and I prayed and I wept.